Chukas. Torah tells us about the chok of the paraduma. So after it gives the brief procedure, how you take this red cow, slaughter it, turn it into ashes. Torah tells us what's the purpose of these ashes. It's so that when a person becomes tameh with tumat met, with tumah of coming into contact with the dead, even though it's quite a severe form of tumah, sprinkling that person with the paraduma ashes mixed with water on day 3 and day 7, followed by mikveh, will purify that person. So the Torah prefaces this whole idea of Tum and Tara with the pasuk in Yud Daled. Zot HaTorah Adam ki yamut ba'oil, kol haba la'oil v'chol asher ba'oil yitma shivat yamim. These are the instructions. This is the procedure for when a man dies in a tent and men come into contact with the deceased in the house, and then it goes on to say how that person purifies himself. However, the Medrash in Brachos, famous well-known Medrash, puts a comma, not Zot HaTorah Adam ki yamut ba'oil, but rather Zot HaTorah, this is the Torah. Adam ki yamut ba'oil. A man literally dies or kills himself in the tent. So of course this is al pi drush. From here we learn that the way for a person to really master Torah study is literally to give his life for it. That doesn't mean that he should literally die. There is a mitzvah of dying al Kiddush Hashem. That's not what we're talking about over here. But homiletically what we're saying over here is that for a person to really master Torah, to remember Torah, that its wisdom should really be part of him, he has to apply himself. Meaning Torah is not like a science. If you've got the intellect and you've got a memory, you can memorize math and science, etc., and master it very quickly. Torah requires yigiyah. Torah requires tremendous input, intensity, to the degree that a person studies Torah, let's say uninterrupted, with intensity, with really, really trying to apply his mind and break his head, as they say, break his head on it. So to that degree, he'll master the Torah, and that's what it's saying. Zot the Torah. This is the Torah. Adam ki yamut ba'oil. I was listening to a shir by my Rosh Hashiva, and he said an amazing story, which will actually explain the pshuto shel mikra. The simple wording, Zot the Torah Adam ki yamut ba'oil, sounds like you could interpret it as being that Torah could kill you. So listen to the following story he gave. He was giving a shir on Reb Chaim Volozhin on the 4th chapter that talks about the merit and the importance of Torah study. Torah study is the most intensive way that a person could build a connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as we say every morning, right? Talmud Torah kineged kulam. You have a lot of great mitzvahs. Talmud Torah is tantamount to all of them, which means that there's 613 pathways to get close to Hashem, but the pathway, getting close to Hashem through learning Hashem's wisdom and absorbing it into your flesh and bones, is like, it's got a certain quality of, it brings us close to Hashem in a way that no other mitzvah can. In fact, there's a Chazal. Chazal said that Dovid HaMelech asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu that Hashem should view the reciting of Tehillim as the study of Ta'alot and Negaim. However, my Rosh Hashiva says that he wasn't answered. Sounds like HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't grant him that request. And therefore, Talmud Torah still reigns supreme. And that doesn't mean quantitatively, perhaps, that a guy who sits and learns 12 hours a day is closer to Hashem than a guy who's working and he learns 1 hour a day. Because a lot of it is about quality. Again, we're talking about over here that during that time that you're actually learning, are you yamut ba'oil? Are you all in? Are you like 100% in? And that's why there's an idea, I'm not saying that we live up to that standard always. Many shuls don't allow cell phones in the shul. You have to leave it. They've got these boxes at the entrance of the shul. Not just because it disturbs davening, but again, if you're sitting and learning and you have a half hour to learn and you have your phone next to you, so then it's very hard to be all in, to be 100% invested in your learning Torah when you're looking at your phone all the time. So that's the idea. Adam ki yamut ba'oil, that if you're totally dedicated to the degree, what does it mean ki yamut ba'oil? To the degree that you could actually endanger yourself. So what was the story my Rosh Hashiva said over? He said that his Rebbe, Reb Soloveitchik, in 1949, Reb Soloveitchik decided he's going to get his driver's license. Because he didn't want people, he felt bad, people had to drive him around all the time. So he wanted to get his license. He got a car, he got his license, he was very happy. And Reb Soloveitchik was someone that was thinking and learning every second of his waking hour. He was always involved in learning. Not only when he was giving a shir at YU or giving a shir somewhere else, he was always thinking about Rambam, he was thinking about Gemara, about Tosfot, etc. So the first time that he got his license, he went out and drove solo. Big mistake. He went out and drove by himself. He never came home. His wife is getting worried. What happened to him? He drove into a tree. They said, why'd you drive into a tree? He said it was a shvera Rambam. His mind was on this difficult Rambam that distracted him from driving. He ran into a tree. So that's literally, and I don't think he ever drove again. From then on, he was happy to let people drive him around. And that's what it says, Zosa Torah. This is a person, try if he wanted to, he couldn't not think in Torah. He was so attuned. And other Rabbonim are like that as well, like amazing. They're so attuned to learning Torah. It's so much part of them. And it's like breathing, just like we don't to tell ourselves to breathe. It happens automatically. He automatically was drawn to thinking about Torah. And even though he knew that by driving, you have to concentrate on driving, but it was inevitable. So he accidentally stopped thinking about driving, started thinking about a difficult Rambam that was bothering him. And next thing you know, he crashed into a tree. You see over here that Torah can kill, right? Literally, that if you're that involved in Torah, don't drive. We say don't drink and drive, don't think Torah and drive. Another idea, it's a well-known story. I think it's brought them from the Chavatzayim or others. A person to succeed in learning, he has to pretend as if he's dead. Obviously, sometimes most people don't have the luxury of learning 12 hours a day. And even people that learn 12 hours a day, and they have someone supporting them, but still, there are errands. I've never seen my Rosh Hashiva run an errand. Why? Because when you're that involved in learning, so then, you have people around you to do it to help you out. It's supposed to help a Talmid Chacham. I remember that it was a few years ago. I get a call from my Rosh Hashiva. He's stuck on the shoulder of Highway 4 where there wasn't much of a shoulder. I had a big event going on. And I had to leave early because he was stranded on Highway 4, pitch black out there. His car is a dark car. You don't even see it. And there was not enough shoulder. He had a flat tire. It was mamish like sakana to get out and change that tire because no one it was between Morasha and Summit Raanana, really, really dark. So we called the tow truck. It took the tow truck 2 hours. 2 hours to come. First thing the guy said is, why didn't you change the tire yourself? We said, because there's no shoulder here. It's dangerous. That's what we called you. So what does he do? So we say to him, take us to one of these 24-hour tire repair joints. So of course, he knows, Who else should know if not a tow truck? So he knew there's a place in Kfar Saba open 24 hours. He takes us there. The Rosh Hashiva and I drove in my car, and we followed in back of him. So what happened was, we get to the tire place, and of course, it's the 24-hour place is closed. He drops the car off there and says, enjoy. I got down on my hands and knees, and I changed my Rosh Hashiva's tire. So it was a big schus for me. It was mamish very happy moment for me that I had the merit to be able to change his tire so he can get back home. But so you see over here that when a Talmid Chacham is enveloped with his body and soul and his mind, every waking moment of his day, he doesn't have to do errands. Because there'll always be people, Hashem will make it so that he can learn with a clear mind. Unlike his Rebbe, he was able to drive. He may have popped the tire, but he didn't ram into a tree. Even those of us that do have to do errands, and we work and we do other things, and therefore there are a lot of things that are vying for our attention at the same time. If you want to be successful in learning, whatever it is, if it's 15 minutes, if it's a half hour, if it's an hour, you have to think to yourself that I'm dead to the world for that half hour. No one's going to disturb me. The story was, you had this man who was a merchandise store. He had a Kollel, and after davening, he would come, and he and his wife would run the store together. So one day he heard a shmooze. He heard a drasha of Adam Kiyamas Ba'oil means that when you learn, you have to think that you're dead. One day, he never showed up. 2 hours later, he showed up. At 11 o'clock in the morning, he showed up. She says, where were you? He said, I was busy. Next day, it happened again. Meanwhile, you've got these clients coming in, and, it's hard for her to deal with them. And so finally, she goes looking for him, and she finds him learning in the base medrash. See, she starts screaming at him, what are you doing over here? Don't you know that the store needs you, your clients need you, etc.? So he said, what would happen if you heard that I died this morning at 9 o'clock? You expected me at the store at 9 o'clock, and then you found out I was dead. Would you still be worrying about, what's going to happen in the store, and why aren't you here, etc.? No. Being dead is a good excuse that I didn't show up to work that day? Yeah, it's a good excuse. So he says, so pretend that every day now, from 9 till 11, I'm dead. And so therefore, you can manage. What do they say? They say the cemetery is filled with people who thought that the world could not survive without them. As important as we think we are, and as important as we actually are, but again, the world could survive whether we're here, whether we're not there. And so therefore, that's the idea. Zosa Torah. You want to learn Torah without distractions. Pick a time during the day, however, how long or how little time you reasonably could have in your day to carve out. And just think to yourself, for that time, for that half hour, for that hour, Kiyamat Boil. Yeah, let the world view me as if I am dead in my house, and don't bother me. Basically, don't bother me. So a person could organize and really to have that mindset that when I'm learning, this is all that matters. Nothing else in the world matters, right? Everything else could wait. My clients could wait. Everything could wait. The world will not fall apart if I come in an hour late, if I come in 2 hours late, but rather, right? And therefore, the person is able to learn Torah with a clear head, with a free mind, and he puts all of his effort, all of his effort into toiling over that Torah, so then that's what the Torah is. That's how a person acquires the Torah. That's how he makes a kinyan. And as we say, Talmud Torah keneged kulam, that's how he's able to forge a very, very close relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And of course, as we say, ala Torah omer olam, right? The world rests on the schut of our Torah learning. Be'ez Hashem, we should all try in some way to carve out a little bit of extra time with the proper mindset, with a clear mind. Learn as best we can. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will see that and bring the Gula Shalem and Meher B'Meinu. Amen.